Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back. We really didn't expect to see you tonight, but I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you. Thank you. I'm Jay, your lovely host, and with me is the beautiful and the vivacious Katie Trainwreck Solitis.
Wow. Wow. Why do I get all these compliments? What's going on? What do you want?
You look so great tonight. You deserve it, right?
Well, thank you. No,
We
I appreciate it.
Welcome back with a super cheesy intro to the Spilling Ink Show. Before we get going here tonight, I want to give a special shout out to our sponsor, Go Indie Now, and Joe Compton. Go Indie Now is the online indie artist network. They offer exciting new content weekly, monthly, and seasonally, all of which highlight, support, and promote indie artists of all art forms. Wow, that's a long sentence. Uh, you can check them out at goindienow.com, subscribe to their YouTube, and follow them on Facebook. And remember, it's Katie. I thought you were going to do this with me.
Oh, you want me to do it? Okay, ready?
Okay. And remember, it's
It's
always time to go indie
Go
now. All right, that was more like an echo, but I feel like we at least gave it an effort there.
We'll get a comment from the boss, I'm sure, real soon.
Well, most people watching this show will have heard of Joe Compton, the great one, and Go Indie Now. So we are very, very happy to have their support and helping the show to continue. And we have two guests tonight. We have Tim Niederriter.
Niederriter, yes.
Niederriter. I knew I was butchering it. And Red. Welcome to the show, guys. How are you two doing?
Doing well.
Good. Yeah. At least I know him. Yeah.
That was a good time. We said it at the same time exactly. Much better than Katie and I. We just tried to do it on purpose.
We'll work on it.
Well, I have not met Lachelle before, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about you and kind of find out what you write. So, if you wouldn't mind, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are.
Hi, I'm Lachelle Red. I'm an indie author. I live in Florida, the north end of Florida, and I write horror and sci-fi and fantasy. I currently have about 10 books on Amazon right now. I released a new horror anthology called The Hot Cauldron 3, which has about 9 stories in it. And before that, I released a sci-fi novella called Ports this year. So I'm really excited about those two projects, and it was great. I was really happy to get the invite to come here.
Well, we're happy to have you on, and we're definitely going to get more into your novellas in a little bit here, because she was actually telling us about Ports, and it sounds fascinating. But you mentioned that you live in North Florida, less crazy or more crazy than so. Which way does it go?
You know what? I really think we have the more crazy. We're just keeping it undercover a little better. Yeah. We don't have like the guy robbing the Wendy's with the gator kind of crazy, but we got it. We got our own special blend up here.
There is
a little less flamboyant
about Florida man or Florida woman. All you have to do is put that into Google.
Yes. I just shake my head. I'm like, oh no. Was it Florida? Yeah, hot. Yeah. You just kind of want to just turn it off. Just turn it off. We can't do this. No. Somebody robbed a bank on a bicycle. I'm like, could you please not do that?
Could you just not?
They caught him. Really?
That's a surprise. Come on.
Yeah.
I think that's Florida's catchphrase. Could you just not?
Exactly. I'm gonna ask you to stop. I need you to stop. Every time something happens, it's Florida, and I'm like, God, Jesus, just seriously. So yeah.
Although Texas has been in the news a lot lately, so they may be stealing some of your spotlights. I'd be thankful for that, I guess.
They can have it. Yes, they can.
Transition to craziest state.
Yeah, seriously. Let's just pass that torch on. We need to. We've had it for too long now.
Oh, well, Tim, how are you tonight?
I'm doing all right. I just, still still riding kind of this wave of a recent relaunch I did. One of my epic fantasy novels. It was a little fantasy. Well, it wasn't quite as epic as the previous one, but whatever. Yeah, I mostly write fantasy and science fiction, so that's basically where I'm at.
Okay. And you also have a podcast of your own, right?
Oh, yeah. I have a podcast called Alive After Reading, which is actually quite similar to this one, just with fewer people on it at any given time. Just me and one guest at a time. And it's not live, but it is a similar kind of energy where you're just BSing all the time. And I've been recording shows for that all week, So, yeah.
It's fun to get into a real conversation with somebody. I mean, you've seen interview shows where it's the standard stock sheet of interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And you tend to get the same answer over and over again. But when you have an actual conversation with somebody, you get a little more of their personality. You get better answers to things. And I think it's more entertaining overall.
Yeah, I mean, I figure, and in this day and age, what's a better way to promote yourself than just to be yourself? I mean, most of the time. For most people. I guess there's some people you don't really want to know, but I haven't met a lot of them. I have not met a lot of them on my show. It's pretty good track record there.
They're in Florida.
There's the boss right there.
Yeah, I'm actually dreading the day that we get a guest on here that we're both like, oh God, what have we done? who have we invited on the show? And then we just have to suck it up and write it out for an hour. But thankfully, in how many years has it been, Katie? Like 18 or 19? We've had all good guests.
It's not Seems that like long, but I guess in some cases it feels that long. No, we've been on for 4 years now.
Yeah, but for the first 2 years, we didn't do them live, and we had to edit the frickin' episode. Oh my God! It was like that machine on The Princess Bride where it sucks your life away.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
You ever played that game?
10 years of your life.
Yeah, not it. That's
it was between all of us. Going, nope, not it.
Yeah, I see. Just with 2 audio tracks, and really just 1 audio track because I'm lazy. I can get those shows knocked out in maybe half an hour on each.
Yeah.
That includes upload time.
Yeah,
wow.
the audio shows are so much easier to work with than when you're watching through the video too, I think. But I don't know. I guess it just depends on what you're looking for. We used to edit out all the ums and the likes and the awkward pauses. It's like, you know what? That's just part of the conversation, man. That's
whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Make a window out of the ums.
Mm-hmm. So last week, we were having a hot and heavy, somewhat dirty discussion about witches that Katie started because she's super into witches. This week, it's aliens. Yeah. So, all right. Sexiest alien. What do you think?
Wait, why do we go straight to sexy?
An alien. Oh my gosh.
For me personally, or for just in general? Because I think in general, you got to go with the original H.R. Geiger alien. I mean, it's got 2 mouths. Something special there. A long tail.
The chest burster thing.
No, not the one that the adult version. Not the chest burster.
The one that is about your soul.
I want the girl from Species. Give me Natasha Henstridge from Species. That would be my pick.
Yes.
You went straight to monster.
Yeah.
I just, that's more my preference, maybe.
You know what? I'm going to go humanoid and go with the doctor.
Oh no, that's actually even better.
Yes.
I just gotta say, because aliens, sexually, aliens don't do a whole lot for me, to be honest.
I like it.
What was that movie Keanu Reeves was in? That the remake where he played an alien. What was that one?
Oh, it was
The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And he's a hunk.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves is an alien. He wins, obviously.
There you go.
Yeah.
Especially with the memes the way they are now. Yeah.
No
contest.
Let me talk about David
Tennant is wonderful. I love him.
Yes.
But he doesn't scream sex appeal to me.
Oh God, yes he does.
That's okay. I got that.
Doesn't matter. Okay.
I like him.
Wait, which one has the teeth? What is she commenting on?
I think she's talking about the xenomorph.
Okay.
Unless he's talking about David Tennant. I don't think he has that many teeth, though.
He was born with 4 extra teeth, just like Freddie
He's like a
Mercury.
shark. He's got like shark teeth.
Ooh.
No, that'd be
Yeah,
just getting row after row of teeth.
Still.
Can I change
That would be
my
like a cross between the
Pennywise
xenomorph and a human. Anyway, sorry.
What did I say about us derailing? See, there you go.
That's my fault this time.
Well,
I'm a great guest. Maybe you've encountered that guest you didn't want to deal with.
But you know what? I like it that Tim really stepped up and took the blame there for that. After I steered us off the track, he was like, "Yeah, I'll jump in front of it."
That's just what I do.
Oh, there's the other boss right there.
Hey, Mickey.
Yes. Hi, Mickey.
Oh, okay. So for realsies, though, I did want to talk about aliens because Lachelle was talking about her awesome alien story. So before this conversation gets too deep, maybe you could give us another explanation of ports, even though you just went through the whole thing. Would you be able
Sure, I will. And like I was telling you guys before, it is a story about how mankind has found a way to live forever by installing ports in every human being. And the material in the ports is DNA that helps to wipe out disease before it starts. So one other piece that I kind of didn't get around to you guys is now that that's the case, doctors are not as skilled as what they used to be, in the past, because there's no need for disease. But as I said, also the ports where they got the material from, which is actually alien DNA, the aliens are now dying out because they've been supplying us with all this DNA, and it's actually the cross-contamination is wiping them out. So they need to go back to the drawing board and start over. So the back end treaties that we had with them are starting to break down because one doctor's like, I'm done with you. I figured out the technology. I'm going to go it on my own. And this is where the trouble starts because the aliens realize his treachery at some point, and they're like, you know what? We got you. And they actually start to release diseases that it was like a built-in fail-safe on the ports. And people start to suddenly come down with illnesses that these doctors cannot figure out. And they have to go and get the chicken soup guys and find them in order to solve these problems. So you've got this one doctor who was a part of it, and he no longer wants to be in it. And he's trying to save himself and save his fiance before things get worse. So, yeah, I loved it. I mean, I just like it,
You wrote it. You should love it,
I've written some stuff and I went, that's not it. Throw that
I guess
away.
you're right. But if you're going to publish something, it should be in there up there somewhere.
Yes, yeah. Because there's a lot of stuff that makes it straight to the trash can.
That's a hard thing to do, though. I know, Jason, your favorite quote is the "kill your darlings," right?
Mm.
It's really hard
Yeah.
to just delete or cut something that you've written, even though you're like, I know it's not right, but it's so hard sometimes to cut that.
Mm-hmm.
It is especially when you've spent time on it. You spend time, you spend your brain power, and with that brain power, there's a little bit of your heart too. Goes into whatever you've written, and so it's tough to say no. I really don't need that in there. It has to go. It sucks.
So
It gets easier. It gets easier.
It does.
I cut 85,000 words from a novel this year.
Oof, ouch.
That was basically the whole book, and then I had to start over.
Okay,
Wow.
so here's the question then. All right, this is for all of you, Jay, you too. I want to hear the answer. Do you cut it and delete it, or do you cut it and save it in some other Word document?
I save it in another Word document because I'm a chicken shit.
I never delete anything. Got to save every scrap. And actually, that's come in handy because I was able to rescue some of the words that I had originally cut. So, yeah, if I deleted them, they would just be dead, and then I'd have to go make new ones.
Yeah, I delete. I'm just killing it all.
Oh, yeah? Merciless.
I will, I'll find a way to kill a character to kind of bring the story back to some form of life where I'm just like, I'm done here. This is not going to work. It's just kind of the way I do things. Yeah. I've had friends tell me you killed off my favorite character. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do.
It's the horror there. You
Yeah,
you put them through the grinder or whatever.
I thought he was going to make it. Yeah, well, no.
Surprise!
Rebekah Jonesy says she wants that book. It's a novella titled Ports, right?
It is on Amazon.com under my name. It is entitled Ports, Ports. And yeah, if you do check it out, I'd love to hear what you have to say and leave me a review. I'm thick-skinned, so either way, I'm good. I've heard that I've written some stuff that's over the top, and that some people thought that's not good. And then the people who are sick-minded like me were like, wow, that's great. So
hey,
Yeah.
we all thought it was good. We all thought it sounded good. So maybe
I think I did pull it together. I think I pulled it together.
So
And I would like to love it.
Rebekah,
Let's
here's
our new Jane for today, because Jane is our missing host for the day, and she is notorious for being able to kill people off without worrying about it. She's quite happy to.
So Rebekah, it's 8:15 right now, my time. So you have 45 minutes to finish Ports and get us a review while we're still on the show here.
She
So
would do it too.
is that possible? Could it? I don't know how long the book is. How long? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Some people can read quick.
It should. I think it's about 123. It's less than 150
Well, that
pages.
seems doable. It's a good length.
Oh yeah.
You can do
Yeah,
that.
like I said, novella. When you've got
45 minutes.
kids, novella is it. And I figured there are other parents out there like me that, hey, look, I don't have time to read all this. I'm gonna need you to cut to the quick here.
That's how I feel. Only I feel that way about, oh man, I'm gonna have to get me going on a freaking series again. That's how I feel about book series. Is because I don't have time to spend 2-3 years into a book series. I need to read something a month and move the frick on. That's all
exactly. I learned that lesson. I learned that lesson from Stephen King. I was reading The Stand and The Gunslinger, all that a long time ago, and I was left stuck on a train to nowhere, and he didn't have the next book, and I stopped reading
for like
him
20 years.
I was mad, not because of it. I was just mad because I couldn't finish the series, and I said, you know what? I'll never do this again. And even I said, when I write a series, I finish it. I have a Wood Sprite's Tale, which is 3 books, 3 novellas. And I wanted to make sure that when I wrote the series, it would be done. It was a quick, pretty good quick read. It's a novella series about a wood sprite and witch, of course. And yeah, I love that kind of stuff. So I wanted to make sure if somebody picked it up, they could be like, oh, okay, I can finish this. Yeah, you can. That's it. I'm done. So cut to the quick.
There's something real nice about being able to finish. Yeah.
There's something to be said though too for the way that authors who have a lot of books under their belts or who have worked through the book process tend to write thinner manuscripts versus brand new authors who give you every single detail and every single description, and they bog a story down with so much detail that there's so much fluff to cut.
Yes.
And as a reader, I don't need the fluff. I really don't. I'm not that kind of reader. I want the pertinent information. I love a well character, but I don't need flowery language. I want to get to it. I want to get to where we're going. I do. I have
to.
You can tell the difference between even authors that have written a lot of works, their earlier works versus their later works. There's a distinct difference in how they write their stories and how much they spoon feed their readers versus how much they go, here's what you need to know, and we're moving on.
You trust the reader to get it. At a certain point.
But that's not true for all of them. If even if you look at, Stephen King is a good example because he started out shorter format and then, all of his books are 1,000 pages. But, even like Orson Scott Card, when he wrote Ender's Game, which is fabulous and hard and gruesome at times, it got right to it and it really drove everything home. And then with the next couple books in the series, they got longer and longer and longer and introspection and more description. I'm like, oh, come on, man. I want the freaking action back, dude. Good stuff back.
Yeah. There's good stuff about longer books than shorter books. I agree with, actually, I kind of fall in the middle. Like Amanda Cardenas in the chat was saying that she likes big books, and I'm like, yeah, I write big books. I like most of my books are pretty long, but I also like writing little books, like novellas and stuff. I like it all. What can I say?
I like
Impartial.
big books of short stories.
Oh,
that's actually the one where I draw the line. So I guess whatever.
are
Well,
those
I've got some anthologies for you, Jay. You can check out.
And I have one for you if you like horror. We could trade.
Ooh.
I love
Jay, you have to talk about your new book coming out next week.
Oh, we'll do that. We'll do that. But we still haven't even heard about Tim's books.
Okay, all right, but make
We
sure
haven't
you
gotten
make
over
a
there yet.
mention because you have to.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So I am releasing a book. I think it's next week? In 5 days. Correction there. So in 5 days, Pathosis comes out. Pathosis is it's not really post-apocalyptic. It's apocalyptic. It's kind of a pandemic that's sweeping across the nation, starting in Florida, of course.
Wait a minute.
Too soon. No,
But
I'm just joking.
Seriously?
It was long before any of this real life nonsense started, or I never would have. but
yeah, you're not striking when the iron is hot.
The story starts out with a headline reading "Florida woman." ...
That's right, Florida woman.
Exactly.
But it's a fun story. I think I absolutely love authors like Richard Preston and Michael Crichton, who kind of blended fiction with science and with medicine and with realistic fact. And so I wanted to write a story that included some more realistic type stuff in there. It had a little bit of a disease theory in there. It has some creepy spiders, has maybe some zombies, and it is YA, which is odd for me. There's no sex in it, guys. I'm sorry if you were reading it for the sex. There's none at all.
Do not read this story at night, though. Your skin will crawl.
Yeah, there is.
Oh, I gotta have this
somewhere.
A lot of creepy crawlies, and the fun thing for me was, and you may not realize it while reading it. I hope you do, but that a lot of the stuff that happens in this book, I tried to keep things within the realm of what is actually possible. What could actually happen, and I think that it's those elements that make some stories a little bit more frightening for me. So I'm trying to pass that on to you because I love all of you so much. It's funny. I'm saying that I'm staring right at Lachelle. I'm sorry. I'm not directing all that right to you.
Sure, go ahead.
Buy the book, Lachelle.
I get to be on the day of this, and there were moments where I was literally screaming at my computer, "No, don't do it! No!" You know what's coming, and you have to read it. You just have to read it. He
Sounds
did
pretty intense indeed.
job nailing the fear.
I like it.
Well, I have something that I've got to. You bear with me for just a second here, guys. If I can find.
I like that is his music running in his head when he's thinking.
Yeah.
That is running in my head.
The full extent of what's going on in that brain. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And I say that because I'm the same way. As I'm like, the wheel is spinning in my head. That's exactly what I'm hearing too.
Just kind of hooping stick and running around in circles in there.
Yes, that means the hamster is not dead. So that's a good thing.
Exactly.
I actually. Oh, okay. Here it is. Good deal. I'm gonna read you a few selections of. This is from Katie's read of my book.
Oh no, not my notes.
Yes, these are some of the comments she left on the manuscript, and I'm not going to read you the manuscript for context. So, okay, we start out with a lovely, nice opening line. Then, hee, gross. Then, famous words. Ah. In our house, we call that particular casserole slug, and it is delicious. And we've got preach, mama, preach. I don't care how
this sounds good. You're all over the place. I like that.
Crawley comes skittering out of the shadows. Anyone will scream like a girl and maybe piss themselves. I should good. All right, so that's all from Katie Select.
Okay. And that's a wrap. I like that.
All right. That's a wrap. That's a wrap. Tim, could you please tell us a little bit about your books?
Do you want the ones that involve aliens or the ones that don't? Because I've got
Yeah.
several other fantasies, but I also have I only have one that actually has aliens in it. That's the weird part now at this point.
Well, if you've got an alien book, let's talk about this, man.
Well, they're kind of buried deep in there. Like I said, was telling Katie and Lachelle before the show. This is my longest novel. It's called Origin of Storms, and it is 170,000 words long or so. It's a huge book, but which makes about 700 pages, I think. I haven't looked at the actual page count anytime recently, but it is the story of a woman who goes on basically it's this grand adventure. It's this huge adventure through the space opera type setting, but it does involve at this point humans have not encountered any aliens to begin with, so it is a first contact story, and they end up running into these critters that are quite big. I mean, like I really am into giant monsters. Like that's something I'm a fan of, and these aliens, every alien is like, give it 6 meters long, something like that. So, and then they're thicker than they are long, basically. They're like mini mountains. And because they also float, they got tentacles, they're scary monsters. I think they're called tyrants. The scariest thing about them is that they can mind control people using pheromones and stuff. And so they're very strict. And so that's why no one's ever encountered them. It's one of those things like you think you think there's all this unrest on the frontier where you're encountering these aliens, and then you realize, no, it was all the aliens. They were mind controlling people, create unrest and sow division and get these rebellion stuff rise. But the story is they are actually still kind of the side feature of the story, which is the weirdest part about it. I think I consider them kind of a side feature. They're a nice side feature. I love them. They're giant, scary monsters that you can fit in their mouth, so they're scary.
Okay.
And there is an alien autopsy scene actually in this book that involves someone crawling into an alien's mouth. Anyway, to see what they're like on the inside.
So
That's awesome.
no type of scope. They're just gonna jump right in there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to pitch that story a little differently than I used to because it takes place in a very weird sci-fi setting.
I like that though. That's different.
The mind control aspect is where it goes super creepy because you never know what's real and what's not. I love that aspect.
That's something I really need to play with in the sequel to that book, because I've written a bunch of words for the sequel. It's nowhere near done because obviously the first book is so enormous. I have no idea how long the second one's going to take. But it's been on the back burner for a year or two. Just a shame because actually I really love the first book. But the second book would involve a lot more of this, illusion versus reality, because in this setting the humans also have a lot of the capability to create illusions of neurological varieties. They can see things that aren't there. It's about 30 feet, 30 feet. 12 feet. Sorry, 12 feet long. That's a meter is about 3 feet. I'm having trouble with conversion now too. Don't quote me on any of this.
I think that's like, okay.
Meter's about 3 feet though. Yeah.
6 times 3 is 18, right?
Cool.
Yeah, it's 18 feet. Yeah. So,
18 feet.
Yeah. A meter and a yard are approximately the same length.
Yes.
That makes it pretty easy.
Conversions.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it's big, and that's
I'm not there either. Nope.
Yeah.
I love big monster movies, so anything if you got the I love that stuff.
Well,
I love a good monster movie or a good monster.
Yeah, and they can, and the fact that they can mind control people and they've got stingers and stuff. They vary quite a bit, but the stinger that they inject the mind control pod into your head with is, pretty mean. But then, the thing is, you're still you. That's the part that's the best about their mind control is you don't even realize that you're under their control at that point. You just think they're your buddy.
Have you guys?
You're pals. You're their best friend.
Creepy.
I love that. Yeah. I love that because that really just
you and your
mind fuck right there.
And you're like, I can't tell anyone else about my best friend. Yeah, that's how it works.
Your best friend has tentacles and stingers.
Yes. And is the size of a car or a bus even.
That could come in handy. Hold on.
Oh no.
I'm picturing a short story right now with like a single person living, and there's like a tiny little spider in there that has her convinced that they're best friends. and the
Oh
spider
yeah.
grows and grows and grows, and she invites people over for the spider to eat. And I like where this is going.
Write that.
In this
Actually,
That
my book,
could
my
be
story also
really
had giant
good.
spiders. So there you go.
yeah,
Giant. That was in the very first chapter. There's a giant spider, because given the proclivity, the weirdness of this setting, that's mostly what people eat.
Oh.
It gets weirder.
Wow.
It gets weirder, sure.
I like it.
Of all the bugs, I think spiders are the ones that really creep people out the most.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just
definitely.
to rescue it. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
legs.
They're very misunderstood.
I've always felt sorry for spiders.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I feel sorry for them because everyone hates them so much and they get killed so much whenever someone sees them. I deliberately avoid killing them, but I don't really like having them around either.
I don't mind, like, let's say daddy long legs or house spiders, because I know they're not going to hurt me. They're doing their job. They're killing other things. But like a widow, that one still freaks me out.
No, you guys miss me with the ones that have poison that can hurt people. But like a tarantula, I'm okay with a tarantula. They're okay.
Wait. Here's the question though, because you just touched on a point here. You said that you don't want to have anything to do with the ones that can hurt people. Why is our pain more important than them?
Oh, it isn't necessarily more important. I would say it's just because I have an instinct for self-preservation.
Yeah,
I don't want to get poisoned,
The death factor.
Yeah, exactly. It also reminds me of why I don't have any sympathy for wasps,
Oh yeah,
wasps, because like they don't even really have a stinger, right? You know what their stinger is? It's called. I'm pretty sure they may have a stinger, but they also have this thing called an ovipositor.
Oh, they have the mandibles where they
the stinger. They actually do have a thing they sting you with, but it's an egg injector.
Yeah,
that's what their stinger serves for. It's called an ovipositor. Yeah, injects eggs into their victim.
Yep. No, thank you.
No, yeah, exactly. No, thanks. We're not.
Get the raid right away.
You have lost. I've lost all sympathy for you guys, wasps. Come on, give it up.
Yeah, and that's where alien stories come from.
It is.
I mean, yes. Think about it. That first alien, the very first one you see, and they find that ship, and that guy hangs his face over the egg. I'm like, that's not
real smart guys.
Yeah. And then this thing is stuck to his face, and you're like, nope.
And then Bishop lets him on the ship.
Yes.
When you break quarantine, people.
No, that wasn't Bishop. It was a different android. That was Ash. Bishop was in the sequel.
Ash.
Yeah, Bishop. That was Ash.
And actually, shout out because Ian Holm passed away, where he just
yes, he did.
Played Ash in Alien.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, have you
as well as a much more friendly character, a certain Bilbo Baggins. Anyway.
Yeah. Yes. Have you guys ever seen? It was with Will Smith and his son. And they go to Earth. Only Earth is like super crazy.
Oh, After Earth, right?
After Earth, okay.
After Earth.
Yes.
That's After Earth.
I felt like that movie was so underrated. Like I really loved the monsters in that one. I thought they were extra cool, creepy, and like they were invincible unless you had zero fear. But how do you have zero fear? When you've got this monster. I really liked that concept. But that's one of my favorite movie monsters recently. Otherwise, I don't know. My wife doesn't really like big monster movies, so I don't get to watch a lot of them.
There actually aren't that many monster movies anymore. Honestly, they kind of
not new ones. No.
Yeah, not new ones. No, I mean like Aliens. It's one of the ones where we've got a perfect collision of the action movie with the science fiction and monsters all in one.
Yes, that's what you got.
But then. Most of the newer, but because of the superhero trend, I'm not disparaging it, but because of that, we've seen very few actual. I mean, sure, there's some kaiju's coming back. You got Godzilla and stuff, but not a whole lot of scarier monsters. Not like, honestly, I actually kind of like the original movie Cloverfield.
Ooh.
That was pretty decent.
It
was a very disoriented movie, but I liked the creature in it a little bit because it was treated more like a horror monster.
It was.
You basically not see it, even though it was everywhere. It was this enormous thing, but you basically never saw it.
Do you remember A Quiet Place?
I haven't seen that one. Yeah.
Movie with the guy from The Office?
That's it, right?
That had some good monsters in it. They were scary monsters. It was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good one. Yeah.
There's been a couple of interesting when you think of when you came up in the 80s and you had Alien and then later on you had Predator, that
Predator.
kind of re-sparked the your
Yeah.
monster craze, and it was awesome.
Well,
And trying to get that level back is trying to get that level back.
Not to mention Terminator, even though that's not an alien. Terminator
But you're
was
right,
also a
though,
monster
yeah.
movie, the original one. It's just the monster is just Arnold Schwarzenegger.
But you also had the era of horror movies where it was the psychological thriller rather than the crazy jump scares.
Yeah. You went through Psycho Killers.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be something that is.
They'd get you in the end, and you knew they were going to get you in the end. So they didn't have
Yes.
Yeah, they
And
don't
they
like
never
Jason's
had
not
to
even going to
run.
run after you. Yeah.
No, they never had to run, but you ended up dead. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Yep.
That's not fair. You guys are cheating.
I'm like, what? He was back there. What the heck? So,
but that's what always made them so scary. It was
Yeah.
the mind fuck of it. It wasn't the jump scare. It wasn't the gore in your face. It was you never knew where they were going to pop up, and they were going to get you. No matter how much you ran or how much you tried to hide, they were going to find you.
Yes.
Oh man, that's making me nostalgic for a book I wrote when I was a teenager. That was about shape-shifting sea creatures that were basically aliens. But they were the bad guys, of course. The main characters it was a YA book, so the main characters were kind of teenagers who were enlisted in this program because they were mutants of some kind that they could become shapeshifters themselves to fight these sea monsters. And so it was a cross between somewhere between Pacific Rim and the old anime Neon Genesis Evangelion, basically. It was basically that, except instead of any giant robots, it was all shapeshifters. And the monsters in that, they could some of them could take the form of people. So because they were that kind of shapeshifter, and I was so happy with that book, except for the fact that I wrote it in all these different points of view, and it ruined it. That's why it's not out.
Okay.
I'm going to fool around with this book. It didn't work out so well.
And you could probably consolidate that and spruce it up.
I'll probably have to at some point. I mean, it's inevitable. I'll think about it. That
retool
anyway.
It 1
Sorry, it wasn't supposed to be about me. I just couldn't help it. I couldn't help think about that book.
You're one of our guests. You are absolutely
That's awesome.
It's your work.
I'm used to being on the other side of the mic. I'm used to hosting more than guesting.
It's so good. So, we've asked this before, but I'm curious. Do you guys read within your genre? Like, is that your preferred reading material? Tim, I know you said you write a lot of sci-fi fantasy, and Lachelle, you write kind of sci-fi and horror. Is that what you typically read as well?
It is. It is basically what I read. Every once in a while, I'll pick up something that's kind of off from what I normally read, but it's that's my majority of everything is horror related and fantasy. So yeah,
I mostly read fantasy. I read a little science fiction here and there, but my favorite thing is to blend science fiction and fantasy. I don't have much patience for hard science fiction, though. Let me put it that way. It's not my favorite thing in the world.
Though the series like The Expanse, and I forget what book series it was based off of.
It was The Expanse was the name of the series.
I really enjoyed the way that they tried to aim for realism with their future setting. And I think that they probably have nailed it closer than any other one that I've seen or read before. And as far as, our future technology as well as the future turmoil that technology creates.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting point. I still haven't seen The Expanse, and I thought the book was good, well written, but I had a hard time getting through it because of all the crazy amount of character death early on. I'm like, this is really throwing me off. All these side characters are getting exterminated like it's a later season of Battlestar Galactica.
We gotta wrap this up.
But that was the first book. It was like the first 100 pages. I'm like, what's going on here? I wanted
everybody's dying.
Now they're just getting vaporized. Anyway.
But I do like their approach because while they do maintain the fantasy element of it, the sci-fi was real enough to be believable. They towed that line really well.
Yeah.
Well, and I need that. I need just a little bit of believability, at least a little bit, just to keep me in the game. I mean, I don't read a lot of just flat out not really high fantasy, but I don't read a lot of sword play and fairies and goblins and stuff like that. Not since Lord of the Rings, really. But
Mhm.
I do enjoy the fantasy elements as long as there's some reality to keep my feet on the ground with. Yeah, and Joe commented that Guillermo del Toro has created some great monsters in the last 10 years, and
Yeah.
I couldn't pick out all of his. I know that he did The Shape of Water. That's the last one I
Pan's
watched.
Labyrinth. Pan's Labyrinth is
Oh,
my favorite. But that's not within the
yeah.
last
I'm
10
trying
years,
to
but it's
figure out.
amazing. I
I've been
think
trying
Pan's
to put
Labyrinth.
wrap my brain around some of them.
He also did
But I-
Hellboy, the Hellboy sequel, the Golden
Oh, I
Army.
love Hellboy.
That was really
I
good.
love
That was especially the creatures in Hellboy 2 were great. I wasn't
They
a huge
were.
fan of the way the story worked in that movie necessarily, but the effects were amazing. The characters were great, but
Well, and that
Yeah.
Shape of Water was. I mean, that was not a scary big monster movie by any means, but it was.
no,
Fabulous.
he was basically an alien. Yeah,
Fabulous. What's that?
he was an alien basically. He was just a merman basically, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but it was just beautiful movie. Absolutely.
Mhm.
I still
not
haven't
scary.
seen
Oh, it's awesome, Cody.
It's
You-
it's got this
I
very
did not
quiet
like
attitude
that
to it.
You
'Cause-
didn't
'cause
like
it's a-
it?
No, she said she didn't watch it,
I
right?
didn't watch it. I turned to one part of it and I heard some musical stuff going on with it and I flipped off. I was like, no. I
Well,
can't
to
do
be,
this.
isn't it basically a love story? I haven't seen the whole movie. I just saw the
It is.
beginning.
Yeah, I
I-
knew it was
and
a
I
love
could-
story.
Yeah,
It's a
The
love story
creature
between the
kind
fish
of
creature
reminded
and
me
the
of the
human.
creature from the Well, yeah.
a similar idea, but it's more a matter of the writing and the cinematography. The way the story is told was just really beautifully done. It's not going to scare you by any means.
It looked beautiful. I mean, it did, even everything I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Joe's
All
giving
right.
us.
Pacific Rim, yeah, Pacific Rim. The creatures in that weren't super. I liked how they
Pacific
handled the
Rim
creatures.
and Chronos,
I've
the
heard of
Devil's
Kronos.
Backbone. Oh, I need to check
Hmm.
these out.
Cool. But specifically, in
I
Pacific,
remember Chronos
sorry.
vaguely, so
Hmm.
there's something. Yeah, I can't
What's-
remember what it was about that, but I do vaguely remember that movie.
Wasn't Pacific Rim the kaiju type characters?
Yeah,
Like-
it was. It
Okay.
was, and I didn't think the effects on those were necessarily that good either, because they were hard to tell apart. The kaiju. I like the robots a lot better in that movie than the kaiju.
Cool.
But the funny thing about the kaiju in that,
Is
the thing I liked about it is how
everyone
they handled them as being part of the world. Like people were selling their body parts and stuff after they were killed and things like that.
Oh.
So I thought that was really neat, the way they were handled as like a real part of the setting instead of just being these things that you just got to kill.
Yeah.
More movies to add to my list to watch.
I just finished up.
Same here.
Yeah. Yeah, Lachelle, you've got a little bit of a delay going on over there. It looks like maybe. So I've got a little. I can hear you, and then I see your mouth going. So hopefully that'll clear up shortly here for us.
Well, everything kind of went. Everybody kind of blinked out for a minute, and I was
Okay.
like, "Oops!" Everybody kind of blinked, so I was wondering what was going on, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah." But everything looks good now because everybody's screen went black for a second.
Well, and you look like you're back on time now too.
And it
But
stopped
it
again.
might not actually be us. This might be alien shapeshifters that have taken us over during that.
Yeah, we got
screen went black.
replaced.
we got replaced.
Somebody, some aliens came by and talented Mr. Ripley to all three of us.
The wonderful
somehow.
world of internet.
Yeah. The wide world web.
I just finished The Hands Were Given by O.E. Tierman, who is actually on the show. It's a
Mhm.
2-hour team, and it was really good. It was fantasy and kind of a futuristic dystopian fantasy, and it's not something I normally read, but I listened to the audiobook and it was just awesome. So I was like, oh well, that was cool. It's been nice to this past year. I've been trying all sorts of new things that people are just like, here, check my book out. I'm like, all right, why not? I don't read this, but I guess I'll give it a shot and see what I think. And I really haven't been disappointed yet. I had one that was pretty slow and tough to get through, but nothing that I've hated. So it's been a decent year for reading.
I'll send you some books, Jay.
That's awesome.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's like, I haven't been disappointed. Well, don't worry, I'll send you some books.
I think the last book that I read was
Oh, go ahead.
I was thinking, I think the last book I read was The Wolf Gift by Anne Rice.
The Wolf Gift. Oh,
And
okay.
that one was interesting. And that was a pretty good book. I liked it. There are some creepy things going on in there. Just to remind you, it's Anne Rice, so prepare yourself. But it was a good book. It was good.
What is the boss talking about here? Not on my watch or sponsorship.
Watch or sponsorship. Oh gosh.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
I probably did something. Dang it.
It's usually me. Political thriller. Stop. Wait, no, I'm kidding.
That's how you lose a sponsorship, folks.
Oh, we're gonna be in trouble. We're gonna get a meeting.
I'm kidding. I love David Baldacci.
How to tank your career before it starts.
Well, actually, I would say what I've been reading lately. I was reading some Roger Zelazny. I was reading, I think, The Guns of Avalon, the second Amber book. It's the last one I finished. Mm-hmm. And those are amazing. Those are fantasy, but they're very, very strange. I was actually talking to one of my brothers about it recently, and because he's a huge fan of the series too. And I'm not sure how familiar you are with Roger Zelazny, anyone here, but he was a pretty big sci-fi and fantasy author back in like the 80s, I think. But this was his main series, was Amber. There's 10 books, but the first 5 all follow the one character, and then the next 5 follow a different character. But the funny thing is, these are like novella length. They're like 120, 150 pages each. But the scope is insanely huge because these characters have the ability to basically create new universes by riding out to different places, and they go to these parallel worlds where they have exactly what they're looking for. And I find that really fascinating. Joe Compton's protecting us from aliens. I'm sorry, but he's not protecting the show from me. I'm on here now. It's too late. Hi, Joe.
Too late.
It's too late. Sorry. My point was, though, that this series is, I don't know, it's not that, it's actually surprisingly down to earth, and it moves very fast. It's a very fast clip within each book, and I love that about it. And I thought and there's also just casual appearances of, scary monsters, which is why it's been on my mind in this conversation. Like, they just kind of pop up, mostly get killed, and then they pop up again later.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the kind of series it is.
I like it.
I was thinking, Yondu is an alien.
Yeah, he was.
Pretty sexy, right? That he could go on the sexy list, couldn't he?
I guess if you're going to count superhero movie aliens, then you've got a big list. Yeah, they count. They definitely count.
We'll have to send a note to David about that so he can tell him. He would definitely quote. He would fall into the sexy list.
The first time it wasn't the first time I saw him. It's the first time I remember his character very well. Was from The Walking Dead, and he was such a horrible, terrible person in that first season of The Walking Dead that I have a tough time looking at him without seeing that character and be like, dude, you're bad. You're bad.
The reality, though, is he's such a cool person. He is absolutely, we got to meet him a few times that we did. He was absolutely just the sweetest, nicest person, and he was so friendly. And then, of course, with his son-in-law David there and their baby, his granddaughter, to see this big, gruff-looking guy just cooing up to a little baby, it's just adorable.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Truly, he was Mary Poppins.
He was awesome. Seriously.
Mary Poppins.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Star-Lord for sure. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you have
Star-Lord.
to
count. And actually, there's a point against Yondu because his teeth are pretty gross.
Well, we can't all have it all.
I suppose that's true. But I'm just saying, he's in the conversation for sure.
We got Drax. Does Drax better?
Oh, Drax is funny.
He had nice teeth.
Yeah, he's totally he's
Fair.
giant ripped dude too. You know, whatever.
So did that xenomorph that Tim had earlier.
Teeth out the. I almost said teeth out the ass, but that's not exactly appropriate. I mean, I think there's that reminds me actually the aliens from Scott Sigler's GFL universe where the aliens play football in space, with humans on the teams. Of course, they play American style football, and some of those guys are just the most freakish things. And they got like some of them don't really have mouths. They've got these things called raspers, which are like just their teeth on like little tendrils that hang, and then they just slice things up and feed them into their throat.
Oh, that's sexy.
And they're all external. It's gross. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds gross.
Yeah, but they're just your buddies, and the whole story is about this guy getting used to playing with them. This human kid learning to be a quarterback.
Oh wow! All right, so we have about 10 minutes left here. I think 9
Oh
minutes.
wow!
So I would really like it if you guys could both kind of pitch some of your projects again, just so people who weren't here at the beginning can maybe hear a little bit about it before we wrap up.
Cool.
Tim,
Tim, you go first.
Okay, I was going to say Lachelle, you go first, but you went first, so I guess I'll go first. You beat me to it. Not it. Yeah. So I've got about 8 books out right now. The one I'm really trying to move copies of is actually Demon Scroll, which is an epic fantasy featuring people taking on the form of demons. Mages wear the form of demons to accomplish other various tasks. They share their mind with the demon, and then the demon takes their body's place. It's great. But they're still in charge, of course, at that point. At least they're supposed to still be in charge. Who knows what's going to happen? You got a demon living in your head. Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the one.
Cool. And I've got Ports, which is my alien novella. Also my Hot Cauldron series, Hot Cauldron 3, which is a tale of short stories. All horror, different types of things going on in there, from werewolves to backstabbing employers, you name it, it's all in there. And also, if you wanted something a little more spicy, I have a novella called When Angels Fall. And it tells a tale of a demon who's tired of working in hell, who comes up top to wreak havoc.
Excellent.
In an office setting, too.
Oh, no. And that's the backstory behind the American version of The Office.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's where Michael Scott came from.
when I heard that you write horror and sci-fi, I was going to ask you if you wrote anything erotic as well, because it kind of all seems to go together.
When Angels Fall has very much an erotic presence in it. It really scared some of my friends, but hey, they read it. Too bad. Because with that one being basically about a demon, when he comes top, all kind of things go on, and he just lets loose. So everything, and it's and he also finds out that he's not as invincible as he thought he was.
Ooh, yeah,
So,
I like the sound of that.
It was one of those reads that I did one of those writes that I did one day. I came home angry from work, so I was able to shell that thing out within a couple of months. I had to find somewhere to pull that anger, and that's where it came from.
That's awesome. So what about you, Katie? You've always got a few things in the works.
I don't know. Since the whole quarantine started, I haven't been able to write much. I did break the 20,000 word mark on the 5th Agents of Asset book, so I am making some progress, but I'm still kind of stuck on a few plot points, and I hope to have the story released by the end of the year. That's my current goal. I want to have the rough draft finished by August, and we'll go through her revisions after that. But yeah, I'm kind of struggling right now.
Are you doing anything else that's creative? Are you doing any reading or?
Well, on the business side, on the freelance side, I'm still doing a lot of manuscript critiquing. I'm doing some developmental editing for a few things. I've got a bit of logo creation and book cover creation work on the side, but really I want to get my writing done. That's my outlet normally, and I haven't been able to. So it's really, you get that awkward feeling when you can't, go to your happy place. And so I'm still trying to figure that out so I can get the story finished.
That's tough. That's you'll get back there. There's been a lot that's gone on in your life, and you just got to get back there. I'm not writing at all. I'm sure my co-author is getting frustrated with me. Sorry, Rebecca.
Get the cattle
But
prod out on you.
I know it. I know. I'm working too much, and I don't have anything left when I'm done. My brain is shuts off. Like nope, it's
that.
over.
I know that
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah. So hopefully though, either once things either slow down or once my brain adjusts to this new normal, it'll be able to start producing again a little. I don't know.
Until then, you're just gonna have to count on that cat to comfort you.
That's right. She is such a sweetie.
Oh,
You're a little better. That's Leah.
oh, she's beautiful.
Sneaky
you.
cat. You almost got away without me mentioning the cat.
She is the inspiration for our Spilling Ink logos.
Oh yeah, she's a the webcam used to be on top of my laptop, which was about 12 inches lower, and so she would stand in front of the laptop and stick her butt right in front of it for everyone to look into her one eye.
Yes.
That's not exactly appropriate.
No,
She's like, I am queen. Hear me roar.
She is.
she is. She's the queen of the downstairs.
Yes.
We're actually dog sitting a friend of mine's dog and my brother-in-law's dogs. So we have like 8 dogs in our house right now, and it is a little wild. It's a little wild and crazy upstairs. I'm actually quite happy to be down in the basement away from all of it.
But hey, if anyone ever trespasses, at least you can unleash the hounds at this point.
Oh yeah, they're not getting in the house.
No, not with that many dogs going on.
That's a life goal. I want to be able to say release the hounds one day.
Release the Kraken.
Oh, now I'm just imagining dogs with tentacles.
Yeah.
Maybe I could do something with this.
Oh.
Maybe there's another future. Maybe there's a future in this. The dog Kraken.
There you go.
Kraken hound. There we go.
Oh my god.
Why not? Just put two things that don't really go together, and then there you have it.
I'm like,
Hey,
okay, cool.
Stuff can be 2 things.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm just trying to imagine if it's a giant squid with a dog's head or something else.
Yes. I like that. Squid with tentacles.
Oh, I've got to pull up something over here a second, Katie. So I'm gonna turn this over to you for just a second while I pull this up.
What mischief are you pulling up over here? I wonder.
No mischief at all. I've just gotta open something on the other browser real quick that I forgot I wanted to mention. So I've got to find it.
Dang it! We thought it was going to be something cool.
Well,
it's back. The old elevator.
Seriously, is what goes. You know what? When I'm doing a blood draw on a dog or a cat or whatever it is, and it's particularly challenging, that'll be going in my head. Well, it'll just be like I guess I never thought of it before as being strange.
No, see that's the part where you're just waving at clouds passing by. You don't notice what's going on.
Yes, total sense. Remember the old Tetris game?
Yeah.
The old Tetris music.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
My ex-husband asked me this one time when I was packing, because I'm the queen of packing. He asked me if that music plays while I'm packing things, and I was like, "Yes, it actually does." In my head as I'm packing things.
Katie, the Tetris champion here.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need that little background, something to focus you. Okay, so I found what I was looking for. This is actually a YouTube video from my other show called Unafraid, and I wanted to share it with you guys because a lot of people that watch this show are my friends, and many of them that don't know I even do this show. But so this is a particularly cool show, a conversation that I had with a person named Lore, where we're actually talking quite a bit about my own self and some kind of mysteries of the deep that have to do with me that I've been figuring out as of late that have been really kind of groundbreaking for me. So I wanted to share that with anybody who feels like watching. If you wanted to hear a cool conversation or learn a little bit more about me, I invite you to watch that. And if you have questions, shoot me a message. So, but otherwise, we are down to 30 seconds. I feel like I really did a pretty good job with that. I got that right down to the wire there, Katie. And
You
now I'm
good.
going to turn it over to the lovely Katie the Trainwreck Solitis to do our post-roll sponsorship plug, since I don't know what it is.
I love how he leaves me the easy one. Like, he did the whole read up for Go Indie Now, and our second sponsor, who we absolutely love, and she is also considered a family friend at this point. She's one of the family, Miss Rebekah Jonesy. She is the author of Realistic Fantasies, both Sexy and Killer. I love that. I love the aspect there. And she's
So
also
sexy.
with a cattle prod, so definitely don't get on that woman's wrong side. But we will make sure her links are also in the show description, both on our Facebook and our YouTube channels. You have to check her work out. She is part of Three Furies Press, and all of her books are available online.
Cool.
Ooh.
Badass.
And she's always watching, so we know the boss is listening.
She's always there.
The eye in
Always
the
watching. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're in a prison. It's like, okay, and the panopticon, they're all raged. You can see everything.
Look at that. That was a great book. I told you she could read it.
Oh boy.
Wow. Awesome.
Oh, hats off.
I'm
Hats off
glad
to
you loved it. There was a lot more to it. Yeah, it was. Yeah. I didn't want to give it all away, but I'm glad somebody liked it. So that's awesome.
She did the whole
She's
challenge.
good.
Now that's a reading habit there.
That's
Yes.
why I create those. That's why I create
Well-
those. Those novellas are for folks like me. Like, I got to get to the end. I don't have all day.
I'm until the end of this podcast. Always
Well, everybody,
watching. Yeah.
well, thank you for joining us tonight, guys. Thank you, everyone who has been watching or listening. Thank you so much. You're the reason we're doing this, just to entertain ourselves, to entertain you guys, just have a little bit of fun on a Saturday night. And until next time, share this around and stay safe.
Thank you. I
Oh, wait, we
enjoyed
got to
it.
hit the button. Oh, yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.